right, so we got a lot to look for in the markets this week, and I really just want to gear towards the SPY and QQQ. That's all I've been really trading lately because it's just been so nice with premium liquidity and getting filled on contracts, and it's just been pretty easy to trade intraday, especially if this choppiness. You not really want to take anything long or swing trades very often because you just don't know what's about to happen. So just intraday trading the SPY and QQQ, but what I'm really looking for here is some downside break, right? So we have on the 5-minute chart, it's looking that the futures are pretty bloody here, breaking down all the way from 304 to 300 in the QQQ. And if I look back here, I'm looking at this downtrend. If we see any sort of bullish activity above this 304, 305 level, we could push to 310. But I'm more so on this little bear flag bounce setup. I feel like this might be a bull trap, and we're going to start sending down a lot lower, especially if Bitcoin starts creeping down some more. It's been kind of a leading indicator where the market's going to go, on top of the TNX, which is a 10-year yield. So if the 10-year yield starts boosting above 3% or 30 here, we could really start seeing some significant sell-offs in the QQQ. So I'm looking at the QQQ level here, below 300. Of course, it already is pre-market. It's right at this $300 level. Not pre-market, futures market. And then anything break down below this 298, we could see a nice drop to 294, and then far below that, we could get all the way down to 290, 291. So looking for some bearish setups here. We could blast right through. Same thing with the SPY, S&P 500. I feel like it's almost like a bull trap, but again, if we are bullish, then above 405, we could break this 410. Then maybe this downtrend could start to be broken. I drew this line here, and then maybe we can get a Bollinger Band curl for some more upside on the long term. But looks like the outlook is pretty bearish, especially with the inflation levels still rocking around that big high. We also have interest rates, spiking again in June. Demand is starting to pull back. The economy is starting to look a little shaky. Not a lot of companies have big budgets for marketing or people to hire, so it's going to get pretty rocky in the future. It doesn't look too good out there in the macroeconomically, but at the same time, I feel like this bearish setup that we're having right here could be pretty good. So below the S&P 500, I'm looking below this 396 mark because it could be a big drop down to 392. We're at 398, 399 right now in the futures market, so if we stay bearish, this 396 break will push us right down to 392, down to 389, and then we'll break below this 385.15 bounce. So I'm watching for this bear side for sure on the SPY and QQQ because I think it's more of a bullish trap. But at the same time, 405 break to the upside was sending to 410. The only other one that I really wanted to point out was Walmart. If we are bullish and we're starting to squeeze up, we could push back above this 150, 152. Super cheap premiums, great play, in my opinion. And then I think that below this 147 support line, 147.50, we could rock below 145. Back down to the support level area and go even lower if the market is weak. So Walmart's a good one to take cheaper wise from the QQQ and SPY if you wanted something different, especially with their earnings coming up this week. So I'd be paying attention to Walmart, and I really like the Lowe's financials that they could possibly be reporting. So I'm looking at Lowe's above this 200 to send up to 203, and then from there, if you're a heavy player, Amazon will go with the market. So this is also setting up a nice little bear flag. This looks a lot stronger than the market does, but if there's any sort of weakness in QQQ or SPY, this could come down pretty heavily from this 22.30 break all the way down to this 21.50. So that would pay handsomely, especially if you have some money to play and you're more of a big risk. So SPY, QQQ, obviously the big setup between Bitcoin, the TNX, whatever Powell has to say on Tuesday, and there's a couple other Fed speakers throughout the week. And then on top of that, we got Amazon for the big players out there, and we got Walmart and Home Depot / Lowe's for the earnings reports this week. So keep a big mind on the SPY and QQQ. I think that's my top of list going forward for a long time now until we start seeing a big flip in a lot of these stocks. But hope that helps out. Hope these levels help out. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. But let's have a great week.